Hello, I'm Elizabeth Mann from Laley High School in Naples, Florida, and my canon number is 611. For my AICE Media Studies class, I will be presenting my creative critical reflection in video form. I would like to start by discussing conventions, what they are, and how my product titled The Maze has used them. Conventions can be defined as, quote, ways of using media codes that are closely connected to the audience expectations of a media product. Different types of conventions include form conventions, story conventions, and genre conventions, unquote. My film product can be sorted into the genre convention of mystery. The Maze also uses form conventions in a similar way most film openings do, by presenting the title and setting towards the beginning of the film. A way that my product challenged a convention was by placing my film's credits in the beginning. It's very common for modern day films to place credits at the end of the movie. However, my partner and I decided to not put them at the end as it would take away the intensity of our cliffhanger. Furthermore, my product represents social groups by being mainly targeted for teenagers and young adults. These groups are my targeted audience due to the genre and plot of my film opening. The genre conventions of mystery, horror, and science fiction are increasingly popular for these groups, especially with these groups being in the generations of modern technology. My product didn't necessarily represent issue, as it was a fictional story under the mystery genre and with little dialogue. However, if I was given the ability to finish my film to its entirety, I would definitely incorporate themes, life lessons, and even touch on current social issues. So if you look at the three attached images on this slide, you'll see that two of them have the credits, and then a third image, the one that's black that says to be continued, that's at the end of our film, and that's actually the last image in our film. So we figured we didn't want to actually put the credits at the end because, as you can tell, it would really take away that intensity, like I just said, of the to be continued cliffhanger. If we were to right after that and then add music and put written, directed by, starring, it's kind of fluffing it up, and we wanted to make sure that our film still had this dark kind of creepy mystery theme going on. So we really wanted to make sure that we didn't have any credits at the end to kind of keep everyone thinking, keep the audience still engaged. So how does my product engage with my audience, and how would it be distributed as a real media text? So my product engages with audiences due to its plot and, again, its mystery genre. My product does this by excluding dialogue and including a cliffhanger and suspenseful music. This ensures for audiences to be engaged and curious whilst watching my film opening. It's slightly more difficult to determine how my product would be distributed as a real media text due to its genre and the plot. The mystery genre, combined with a fictional plot and this entirely unrealistic idea in my film, makes it hard to determine how this would be played out as a real media text, compared to film based on true events or even a realistic plot. And so the images that I chose for this slide, I chose some of the most kind of suspenseful and also curious like scenes in my film. And I think these are some of the most engaging parts of the film. So, in the first one, where I am opening the door, this really starts to engage the audience very fast because as soon as I start opening different doors throughout the film, I'm not leaving or exiting anywhere. I'm just being led into other doors and other hallways, other stairwells, and then, later the creepy closet. So, that scene particularly first is what's going to engage the audience as they think I'm leaving, but I'm not. Turns out I'm in another hallway. So that kind of gets them and grabs their attention. So the second one right next to it with my partner picking up the book, that one is also connected to the third image where when my partner starts picking up the book, the lights start flashing in that creepy closet towards the end, and I'm kind of confused. I don't know what's going on. Obviously what's actually happening is as she's closing the book and putting it away, I'm theoretically, I'm stuck in this book as the book is called The Maze and I'm in a maze. So while the book is being closed, the weird kind of, parallel world that I'm stuck in is being closed as well. That's kind of what's being symbolized when she's closing it in the flashing lights. And so these two scenes really engage with the audience because they don't know what's happening. I also don't know what's happening. And my partner who's picking up the book, she doesn't even know what's happening. She's just picking up the book. And then, that's kind of a really three-dimensional interaction. And we also see the lights flashing, which kind of incorporates it even more, kind of just the curiosity, the suspense. And this whole time there is suspenseful music. And like I just said earlier, the lack of dialogue, I think, was a really good um, I think it was a really good idea that me and my partner decided to do. We decided to do it to make sure that, while the audience is watching, they're not focused on a conversation or background noise or, just, fluffy talk. What they're focused on are these actions and the lights and the filter and the music and the creaking of the doors and, lights flashing, different doors being led to different doors. And the lack of dialogue kind of makes it not more confusing, but more, interesting. Like, what is going on? No one knows. So, and then the to be continued, obviously, that's a huge cliffhanger that keeps audiences, guessing, wondering what's happening next, wants them to see more, etc. So, how did my production skills develop throughout this project? So, prior to the creation of my film opener, my production experience and skills were quite limited. Yet, one practice that quickly helped increase my production abilities was taking practice shots and angles with my partner. My partner Emily Solis and I did this very frequently to ensure we not only felt comfortable trying new angles and shots, but got more experience with the camera, setting, and the editing of a shot. I also feel like my storyboarding skills have especially gotten better. Emily and I had done multiple storyboards leading up to our final chosen one. I now feel confident in drafting a story plot and then executing it with a variety of unique shots. So in this slide, the three images that I chose were images that really took a lot of developed skill, probably took the longest amount of time to execute, and we had to practice a lot to kind of get that end product. So the first one right here was actually the shot that took my partner Emily and I the complete longest. We knew how we wanted this shot to look and how, we wanted it to kind of feel, how long we wanted it. We knew exactly how we wanted it to be. However, my partner and I had a really hard time executing this. We didn't have a dolly that would work for the carpet, and we didn't have a dolly that we could bring up to this location because it was on the stairs and it wouldn't work. So we tried hand holding our camera, and that didn't work because it kind of was shaky, it wasn't stable. And after a lot of days of still working on the shot, we ended up using a wooden chair and balancing the camera. I don't even remember on what, but a product on the chair, and slowly dragging the wooden chair across the carpet. And we actually had to take a lot of pictures too to kind of figure out, what angle and what speed we even wanted the shot to be at. So that took a lot of practice and patience, and I think that really helped not only develop our production skills, but also give us confidence to finish the rest of the project. So this second image here on the staircase, we took a lot of pictures of the stairwells that we used and kind of messed around with different angles and all as you can see, there's a lot of use of lines in this shot, and we really tried to get interesting shots by using all the crevices and lines and everything in those stairwells. And so this shot we were really happy with. And then lastly, the third one, this shot is to kind of represent all of the shots in which I was opening and closing the doors that led to other doors. This took a lot of time, as this wasn't just one shot. We did this throughout the film. And it was especially difficult because we had to open one door and then we had to go find another door in our location that would work, and we kind of had to make sure the lighting was similar. We had to make sure the timing is right, my hands are in the same spots. So this kind of helped develop my skills in just being on camera and making sure that everything you do, it has to be articulate, and you really have to plan and execute everything thoroughly. You can't just wing it. You have to kind of look at the angles, and really just focus on what you're doing. So yeah, moving on to the next question. How did I integrate technology into my project? So my partner and I integrated technologies into our product in many ways. We depended on our personal smartphones a lot, especially to create flashing lights, sounds, and video shots specifically. For editing software, we mainly used Apple's iMovie to split, cut, and fade our clips into each other. We also used iMovie to integrate our chosen music audio. We did use Premiere Pro slightly, but we mainly depended on iMovie as Premiere Pro was lagging and we were starting to have a lot of technical difficulties. So in these 3 shots, I just wanted to show, if you look into the first one where my hand is in it, in the left corner, you see kind of this ray of lights, and we actually created this on purpose. What we did was we had the camera, the lights were off in the closet, and we took a smartphone, turned the flashlight on, and angled the flashlight into the camera lens in a way that would create this light. Um, and we just thought that it looked great, and it kind of helped make it look a little bit more personal and interesting and created another form of depth into our film. And so these other 2 shots right here, this is when it was one of the last scenes of our film, and it was when I was in the creepy closet, and the lights started flashing as the book was being picked up in the library. And so what we did for this was, in the actual closet we were filming, we didn't have any lights on, and we were depending on a flashlight for this lighting right here. And so in order to create the back and forth flashing lights, and to make sure that my reactions to it were on time, we did it right then and there by just turning a flashlight on and off. All right, so that's the end of my creative critical reflection on my film opening, The Maze, for my AICE Media Studies class. Thank you for watching.